Good morning or good evening, wherever you are. It is morning here in Bali. I'm back at home in the little house, and I am so excited for today's live because today we're going to talk about faith. And I know a lot of you out there are women that are badass, that are have all of these desires and dreams, and you want more from life. And but it's scary, right? Like it's super scary to go away from the social script. And so today we're going to talk about how do you find the faith and the courage to deviate from the social script and carve your own life. So that is today. I'm just going to give you a little bit of context if you're just joining us, which is that this is, hi Eve, this is the third day of the Untamed and Unapologetic. Oh, Untamed and Unleashed. It's Untamed and Unapologetic. I got the name wrong. Challenge. It's a 5-day Facebook live streaming challenge that's all about going into the archetypes that hold us back as women, and then how we unlock these archetypes to be more of ourselves in the world. Hi, Eve. Good morning. And yeah, as you're joining, or if you're watching this on the replay, just do #replay, and then I can make sure to comment on your comments and that everyone gets heard. So also one more thing is that each day there's a worksheet that goes along with the topic. And so if you want the worksheet, I will post the link in the comments. And this helps you move from like the theoretical of the concepts into actually applying it to your life. And so I would say make sure you get that worksheet and start applying it. Back to yerba mate this morning. So good. Yeah, so I think we're going to jump in. Make sure you have a pen, paper, and clear distractions. Be focused because it's like your growth is important. And these things we're talking about are important, but they're only going to land and have impact on you if you are clear of distractions. Good? Hi, Halo. If you're just joining, just say hello. Drop an emoji of how you're feeling today. I would love to see how everyone is feeling. So I see Celia, Halo, Eve. So just drop an emoji. How are you feeling? I would say I am feeling like the heart emoji, probably like kind of soft and excited and sweet. Oh, Halo's got a halo emoji. That seems fitting, and a heart. Amazing. Hello. Yeah, just drop a little emoji. Would love to hear how you're feeling. And as you do that, I'm just going to, oh, and also just chat, like, what is your intention for today? It's Untamed and Unapologetic. Like, what do you want to bring, get out of it, learn? So go ahead and chat that. I will give you a minute or so. Also, I'll just, as you're thinking about that and chatting it, one of the things that I love is I have a crystal collection, and I chose 3 crystals today that represented the theme. And so these are the 3 crystals. It's presence, feel your body, and take a risk. So those are the themes for me today. All right, so let's jump in. So the first one is the approval seeker. Who is she? Oh, Eve says she's sick today. Celia says XO. Sweet. I'm hoping you feel better, Eve. So the approval seeker, she is the woman, and I just want to preface this with, that woman lives inside of all of us. None of us are free of this one, although she can get louder or quieter at different times. So the approval seeker, she looks outside of herself for advice and guidance. She's faced with a decision. Should I do this job or this job? She's asking her friends, she's asking her family, she's like asking her previous bosses. The approval seeker doesn't trust her own ability to hear the voice and follow it. And so she's like, I'll just give you an example. I had the desire pop up to move to London maybe 3 years ago. And then I went straight into the approval seeker. I started asking my family, what do you think? And then I started asking my friends, like, should I go? Should I not go? I don't know what to do. And I think that's that's like what the approval seeker does, is she's like looking outside of herself for guidance and opinions. Celia says, preach, Radiance. Yeah, let me know if you've ever done that. Just raise your hand. I'm raising both hands. It happens all the time, especially when something feels scary. It's like, please, someone reassure me that this is a good path. And it's so easy to do. And the other thing I would say is like, it also, when you're making decisions, it's a lot of responsibility. And so by asking outside of ourselves, it's an easy way to kind of like spread the responsibility. So yeah, and it's scary not to know. Like anytime we're faced with a big decision, like moving to London or staying in San Francisco, there is, so he says hands up, yeah. Anytime we're faced with a big decision, there's so many unknowns. It's like, we don't know what it's gonna be like. We don't know where we're gonna live, what we're gonna do. And in the face of the unknown, it's really tempting to want to get reassurance from people. And it's not a bad thing. Like, it's not a bad thing to get reassurance from people. But the thing that I would say is that you know, like you've always known. Your mind might not know, but your body does. And so as you face the big decision, like drop into your body, you can feel it. You can feel if it's a yes or if it's a no. So yeah, the first thing on unleashing, yes, Ilya says it's also a place I've given away my power. Totally, me too. Me too. Can anyone else relate? Do like drop an emoji, let me know. So the first thing I would say, and if you have an example of a time that you've done this, like try to look outside of yourself for guidance or approval, just post it below. It'd be great to have some real life examples. So here's the thing. The undoing the approval seeker requires a couple steps. The first one is listening, like slowing down and listening. So like I meditate almost every morning. That's one of my ways to like slow and listen. You can also do it like in this moment, like hands on your body, take a deep breath. Like, what do you want me to know? And the worksheet that I wrote has some prompts about helping you tune in and listen. So that's the first thing to do. And then when you'll get a hit of something, it might not happen immediately. Like your inner voice, the one that knows where to take your life, if you've been tamping it down for a while, it will take some time to come back. And that's okay. Just keep listening. So at some point you're going to hear something. Like for me, it was, I remember when I moved to London, for example, I was in my job and I like had met the people that lived in London and led the team there. And I was like, and I could feel I wanted to focus more on purpose. And so I was talking to my boss, honestly, and I was not thinking about this one. And it just popped out of my mouth. It was like, I want to move to London. And he looks at me and he's like, oh, okay, let's do it. Which is an awesome response. I feel very grateful for that. But yeah, so that's what it takes. That's the first listening. It's just listen, and then the voice will say something. Then the next step, this is the harder one, trust. Trust and faith. Because as soon as the voice comes up, the next voices will be like, I don't think that's a good idea. What if I fail? I don't even know anyone in London. But I'm building a life out here in San Francisco. How will I make friends? Like, it will just, like, the voices will start. Can anyone relate to that? Have you had that where you heard something? Like your inner voice said something and then you were like, no, oh my God. Let me know in the comments below if you have felt that way. Wait a second. I'll just keep going, but keep commenting. I love hearing from you guys. Yeah, so all the voices pop up, especially if you're trying to choose a life path that's not the traditional one. And so and I know a lot of women watching this and a lot of women in this group feel that way. You want to start businesses, you want to write a book, you want to travel across the world, you want to go to a retreat, it's like there's all these desires that are not the standard life script. And following them requires faith because of the voices that pop up. And they're like, what if I choose wrong? if I go off the traditional path, they're looking at me, they're watching me, and I'm doing it wrong. Yeah. What if I fail? What if I regret it? What if I chose wrong? I remember one of the most impactful conversations I had is when I was moving to London, or I was on the fence. I was like, had kind of gotten everything in motion, but then was scared. And I called my friend Angela Richardson, some of you know her. And I was like, Angela, should I move to London? And she was like, babe, you can't do it wrong. You can't do it wrong. You just hear the voice, you trust it, and then maybe it'll be like, maybe you'll move out there and be like, oh, it's time to come back. Or maybe it'll be perfect. You don't know, but there's no way to do it wrong. And I made that my iPhone background for a while because I was like, I just really need to remember that I can't do it wrong. So he says, laugh out loud. Yeah, and I would say that that's one of the most important things that I found about having the faith to go outside of the social script is like, find someone whose faith is stronger than yours and plug into them. I have not taken a single risk in my life that was not followed that way. I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, when I quit my job, I had my friend Maddie on the phone that was like, I believe in you, you can do it. When I moved to London, I had Angela on the phone. When I heard the voice to go to Bali, it was Rev Joe. And it's like, you've got to find someone that's faith is stronger than yours, that can that you can plug in and they can hold you as you're taking this risk. And Celia's here, she's commenting, and I just want to give a shout out to Celia because I had this desire, I had this voice to do a retreat in Bali, and it was terrifying. But then it was only in conversation with Celia, and she's like, yeah, that's perfect. I've been having a similar voice. Yeah, that makes sense. And I was like, really? We could do it? And it was like her faith inspired my own. And now we're doing it. More info to come on day 5. But yeah, so that's an example of like, you need someone else's faith to bolster your own. I made this little picture here. This is how I journaled this morning. So this is you in your comfort zone, right? Like it's like the status quo, the 9 to 5, the traditional life. Your dreams, writing a book, going on a retreat, traveling the world, quitting your job, falling in love, these are taking you out of your comfort zone. And it's this dotted line because it feels shaky and scary, right? And like the same calling that is pulling you out, there will be equal and opposite force, it's very hard to do, that is pushing you back in. Equal and opposite fear and resistance that wants to push you back into your comfort zone. So that's what happens when you're like, oh, I want to travel the world. Oh, but I can't. And the forces are usually, not to get all like Newton physics, but in my mind, they're kind of equal, like the desire and the fear. That's why you need someone else to help you face those fears. Can you relate? Yeah, Celia says, yep. And if you're watching, how do you overcome these fears? Like yeah. Celia says, all the crazy is outside social norm. That's exactly right. Like everything that has been fun and exciting and dynamic is out here. But it also means, and for all these badass women watching this, that a lot of people in your life are going to think you're crazy. They're going to think you're crazy. They're not going to get it. When you hear that voice and you're like mine was moving to Bali was the most recent one. I like heard the voice in meditation and it was like, move to Bali and do a retreat. It was super clear. But then my next thing was like, what the hell? I don't know anyone in Bali. What am I going to do here? Like, and I had a job and I had a community and I kind of held that voice because I knew if I shared it too broadly, and I shared it with a few people and they shut it down. They were like, that is crazy. What a sweet dream. And that's what happens, I think, if we share it too soon or with people that don't have enough faith to hold it. So that's why it's so important. If you hear a calling, if you have a desire, that you're sharing it with people that have more faith than you do, that can help support you. Because most of the people are going to be like, you're crazy, get back in the comfort zone. Sue says, I do everything naked and afraid. I move anyway. I love that. It's so good. Naked and afraid. I love that point too, Celia, because it's like the fears never go away. They never go away. You can work with them. You can befriend them. They sometimes get quieter, but they never go away. I mean, still, I do Facebook Lives like every day or every few days, and it's still scary. It's still scary to hit go live. Like my heart still beats. And so it's like, Celia says, fuck that. Yeah, it's like these things never go away. And so it's just, and I think the key is both trusting the impulse, trusting our body, and finding someone with faith, as well as cultivating your own, by the way. So I'd love to hear, if you're watching this, how do you develop that sense of faith, that sense of like trust, that you're not crazy, that these little whispers are not insane? Let me know in the comments. How do you find that sense of trust? One of mine, Celia says, no, the voices don't go away. It's how we carry them. Totally. One of my ways of finding that sense of trust is, like I showed you, I have these little crystals. For some reason, it just feels reassuring to like hold them or play with them. And I don't know much about crystals, but it helps me tune into like, I'm not alone. Like there's something bigger holding me. So I would love to hear from you. How do you find the faith to follow the quiet inner voice inside of you? And I know I only have a couple people watching at the moment, so we'll probably have more watching later. So if you're watching later, you can still comment, still respond, let us know. I'll read all your responses. And yeah, I think that is probably a good stopping point. I guess the only thing I would say, add to it, is like, there's fear or faith. And oftentimes it's literally that simple. It's like, will the fear push me back into my comfort zone, or will I have enough faith and strength to follow the desire or the voice or the inner whisper or the intuition or whatever you want to call it? That is the question. All right, so we are coming to the end of day 3. We have 2 more days, untamed and unapologetic. And the next 2 days, I'll just give you, I'm so excited about the next ones. It is the shutdown virgin. So we're going to talk about sex and your relationship to sex. And then the final day is the competitive frenemy. We're going to talk about sisterhood and learning a new type of sisterhood. So stay tuned for those. And if you want the worksheets, which are really helpful actually in like integrating this more, just comment below that you want the worksheets and I will make sure you have the link. And I think that's it. I do have a surprise at the end of day 5, so make sure you are here for that. All right, have a good day. Bye, everyone.